The number one trait of a trafficker is what? Making you believe he ain't a trafficker. The number one trait of a groomer is to do what? Make you believe they're not grooming you. Now, we've been through this multiple times. We've talked about this over and over, almost like beating a dead horse. However, in the vein of having be repetitive and speaking too much, we'll continue. Because the only way to get traction is to keep talking about it. And remember the squeaky wheel syndrome. So we're going to keep talking about it. I want you all to put yourself in just this little bubble for a minute. And that bubble being the twilight zone, because I think we're in there. We're in the twilight zone right now. However, we've been in the twilight zone to some extent for a long time. About 3 years ago, we covered the story of Mother Teresa. I don't know how many of you remember this, but we covered not just Mother Teresa, we covered the Vatican Church, and we covered all of it. We covered everything, the tunnels, we covered the papacy and how they have their rituals. We covered everything, how they traffic children, what they do with the children. We did all of this. The one thing that the Catholic Church has been profound at doing is making themselves seem benevolent, right? We know that they always come across as one of the best, the sweetest people. They want to be the one that's caring. In fact, they're all for universality, and they want to make a bond with every religion. That's where they're at now. That's the Catholic Church. But on the dark side of the Catholic Church, especially when it comes to the Vatican, is that they do things very nefarious. When you look at the priesthood, and how they're protected, especially by the Vatican, when they do something ill to a child. You see all the time that they either get relocated, they never face a punishment, or they leave them there and they end up retiring or just expiring at an old age and never having any responsibility for the things they've done. Something else that goes on is almost identical to the Catholic Church is the modern day people that speak out against the trafficking of children. If you watch, it's almost a carbon copy of what the Catholic Church does. I'll break it down. The Catholic Church comes across as though they help. So they'll put money, fundraisers, and they'll speak about it, at least out loud, about what happens to children around the world. Same thing with the modern day light bringers to the trafficking industry, specifically certain names. You saw it fizzle out when the Sound of Freedom happened, and all of a sudden those people just stopped talking about child trafficking. They made their money, made what they need to do, and they dipped. That's one trait of them. The other one is that they remain constantly in the spotlight. They'll keep telling you about the effects of it. They'll tell you about what happened. They'll tell you about all the industry secrets, while still being either in the industry, trying to graft more people into the industry, or they won't actually take steps to stop the things they know is happening, even though they've been in the industry that they say needs to get stopped. Case in point, two people in particular in the industry, and one person in particular that seems to be on the side of the people, but we believe really isn't. The three people we're talking about are as follows. General Flynn, and I know there are going to be people talking all kinds of sideways about this, but I want you to hear us out first before you make your conclusions. General Flynn, Jaguar Wright, and Tory Outlaw. Those are the trifecta. And I'm going to make a comparison about how they operate versus how the Catholic Church and the Vatican in particular operate as well. Some may see this as a stretch. Again, we love stretching. We are very nimble people. We want to get old, happy, not to be just old. Okay. We want to be able to be limber. That's okay. Limber is good. But if we're not stretching and you can make the correlation, more power to us because we're bringing light to something. But we're just asking for one thing, and that's your patience as we flesh this out. We all know, I'm going to start with the Catholic Church first. We all know about the catacombs, we know about the tunnels, we know about Mother Teresa, we know about multiple excursions by certain diplomats that lead with the Vatican. We understand that their nature are aimed towards the children. Not from a good point of view, but from a very nefarious point of view. And this is not just limited to America. We're talking about the whole globe is being operated by these people. They go into multiple different countries, and their aim has always been to go to and attack, I would say attack, the children. They will go and they say they start an orphanage. You never really hear them going to start like an adult center for mothers to keep their children. You ever realize that? They always go after the orphanage. They want to make sure that they get the children to be safe. And then they'll tell you about how the Bible says that they need to look after the orphans and the widows, but they never really talk about the widows. They talk about the orphans a lot, the children. And ironically, they always put one female, or at least a young female, and then a older male to either facilitate, look over, and then they will just have reports sent back, but you never really have a flushed out system to tell you what's really happening at these orphanages. And a lot of the time, the children will either end up going missing, never get adopted, or you never hear from them again. And in their mind, they say, well, this is an impoverished country. And you know what happens in an impoverished country? We're trying our best. We're trying to put as much money towards them to feed them, but they're not really getting fed. And so some of them will end up being, they die because of malnourishment, or they die because they're not being taken care of fully, but we're doing our best. That's usually what the story is that they give you. You never hear about the attrition rate of them coming in or going. You always hear about the dying, but you never hear about how many of them get adopted. In cases, they might hear some of them get adopted and brought right back. What's up with that? Well, we can only assume that they're not getting adopted. They're being placed to be abused and brought right back into the system to have another family do the exact same thing. And for folks who think this is not possible, I would advise you go to other countries' demographics and take a look at it, because it is the data is there. You may not be able to see it here, but it is definitely in the countries where they exist. We have enough issues. In fact, the Vatican may not need to do much here because we have CPS. So when you look at the Vatican Church, what they do, the Catholic Church, what they do, especially with the Vatican, they push the good message of trying to help. They push the good message of trying to bring it to an end, while at the exact same time using that message to have people bring children to them, only to have them abused. Now, the first person we're going to talk about does the exact same thing, but you may not think so. And that would be Tori Outlaw. In all of her excursions, talking about the things she's been through, and we've talked about this before, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate what happened. She'll tell you everything that has ever happened, especially to her, sometimes even glorifying it to an extent. And then she will tell you about how we need to make sure we don't allow this to happen to any other child. But she'll also tell you to make sure you trust people, but don't trust them at the same time. What does that do? Keeps you confused. It keeps you in limbo. It doesn't make you able to help, and it doesn't make you able to do anything to the adverse either. So you feel like you're helping, but you haven't done anything at all either. You're intrigued by the story. Sounds great. Sounds amazing. You keep having your heartstrings tugged on by saying, oh my, the children. Oh, the children, the children. Oh, the elites are the elites and the elites and the children and the elites. Then you ask her, what are we supposed to do? You can't do anything. What do you mean you can't do anything? Well, you see, the system is set up. So how do you know that the system is set up to do this? And you're telling us all of this, and then you tell us to help, but you don't ever give us an out as to how to help. In fact, you tell us there is no way to help. So why are you talking? Oh, I'm trying to bring awareness. So what is the awareness supposed to do? They never tell you. What exactly is awareness supposed to do to help the children that are being abused? Nothing. You're just aware that they're being abused. That's almost like you're having a building set up with a big glass window, and all the children are being targeted and abused behind this window, and you get to just stand there and watch. Now, I could assume one of two things about Tori. Either she likes watching children get abused, or she's participating in it herself. Now, I would not be, and I mean absolutely not be surprised if she is participating in it herself. Why do I say that? That's quite a statement to make, right? Yeah, okay, we'll show you why we think that. Here's why. In one of our breakdowns of Tori's excursions, we covered a class that she ran, a dance class. Now, remember, again, she was the one that says the industry, especially people like Jay-Z and Puff Daddy and all these people, these big names, and they abuse kids and they use the music industry to get them. That's what she said. Not hate. We didn't say that. We know that, but we didn't say it. She did. Okay, cool. Make sure we attribute all praise to Allie Carter, the wonderful and amazing human being that she is, that's bringing so much attention to everything. She says that this is exactly the way they bring children in, is they groom them into the industry by making them believe that they can get headway, make money, make a career. So what does Allie do? Allie decides she's going to teach dance class to minors. What's the genre that she decides to teach these kids in? Hip hop. What's the one genre that she tells people is the most divisive and crazy part that abuses kids? Hip hop. So what am I supposed to assume? Are you just going to? Are you introducing to a different kind of hip hop? Probably the clean kind. You're probably just trying to get them into with artists that aren't doing it. Which ones are they? Won't tell you. What exactly are you teaching them that for? It's a skill. For what? Make them make money. With who? Won't say. So on one hand, you're telling me to get my heart all wound up about the industry and saying it is bad, 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 evil, wicked, dark. What look at what they're doing. And at the same time, you go about trying to groom other, and that's the word I'm going to use, get offended if you want, groom the children in the dance same arena to be doing the same gyrations while you yourself are actually participating in videos depicting the very thing you say is so horrible. You said that, not us. You're the one that came forward claiming that you were trafficked everywhere across God's green earth to Timbuktu and back. That was you. You've been in containers. You don't know where the kids are. You've been to Russia and you came back. You have been the most traveled individual I've ever heard of. And I mean, Dr. Livingston existed. You traveled more than him, and you were trafficked more than any other human being I could hear of. Yet and still, you are in the same industry that you say is so bad. So I can only assume one thing. You draw the attention to the industry of trafficking to keep eyes off of you so that you can operate in the same industry that traffics children so you can traffic them too. That is the only thing I can assume. The exact same way the Catholic Church does it through the Vatican. Go into a community, tell everybody we're here to help, set up the orphanage, saving children from trafficking, while at the same time trafficking the children you're saving from trafficking. The other individual that does the exact same thing is Jaguar Wright. Jaguar came out of the woodwork screaming at the top of her lungs of people being this way and that way in the industry and violent and evil, and they do all kinds of things to kids, and they all kinds of stuff she came out saying. Meanwhile, Jaguar is the same person that will actually speak to people and about their kids and have no issue with it. She's the same exact person that has issues in her own world and doesn't care about the ones that she actually has. She is the exact same person that does the same things that she's saying she needs to stop people from doing. Case in point. For all intents and purposes, she won this so-called award for, I guess it was for mental freedom or some nonsense like that, for truth telling. And I keep asking people, what truth has she told you that she's acted on where you see any reality come from it? And you can't name one. Not a single one. She has a whole bunch of proof about people that she says traffics children and has done nothing about it. In fact, she sits on information and just kind of leaks it out to various podcasts instead of in court, mind you, leaks it out to various podcasts. And she still wants to get back into the industry by keeping her ties open with this industry. She has still kept every lick of ties that she's had. She still tries to get into the singing arena. She still has ties to certain people. I think his name is Big Homie CC. She tries to say she doesn't have any ties with him, but she does have ties with him to try and procure girls.
I made a mistake again. Well, no, because see, Big Homie CC was supposed to be going to extract that person from me because an attempt had just been made on their life. And every time I kept asking him when he was going to be able to get in to get this person, it was, well, we got to talk about the business and I need you to film this with me. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I understand it. I don't have no problem with it. But we can work together once I get this person out. And that was the only thing that I asked Big Homie CC for.
You don't find it weird that the same way that she's trying to bring attention to the industry for doing it, she is now saying, well, I'm just trying to save them, but you don't hear about the people she saves. No one has ever come forward saying that Jag saved me from this, this, and this. Why is that? Why is it that not a single, not one, not even one individual that has been helped by Jaguar, that she says she's helped? She really does. She even swam to Epstein Island, remember that. Why is it that you can't hear from these people? More than likely because either one, they don't exist, but I don't think that's necessarily true. I think they do exist, but I think they exist for her benefit. I do believe 100% that what she has been doing is the same people that she says she's been saving, she's actually been using herself. Now, don't forget, her own words were that she set up people to do certain things for her, including and up to sexual favors on camera to get someone in trouble. Her words, not ours. Her admission, not ours. And oddly enough, this particular person is Donald Trump. You get what I'm saying with those particular people. This is exactly how, again, we're going to relate them all to how the Vatican operates. This is what they do. Tell you about a problem, say we're going to really fix the problem, set up an environment where you say, this is my entity to help the problem, but you never hear one success story. You never hear one person come forward. You don't hear any of that stuff at all from the people they say they saved. But for some weird reason, you keep hearing them talking about it and more people keep flocking to them. And they keep telling you about people that they've either had a hand in saving. They give you a number of people they save and the people that they're trying to save. You can only assume one thing from it. You can't assume multiple, just one. They never did it. Or if they did do it, they flip the script and tell you that what they're doing is saving when in actuality they're trafficking more. Just that they're the ones benefiting as opposed to the people they don't like. It's not that they really hate Jay-Z. I don't think she hates Jay-Z. I think she's jealous of Jay-Z. I don't think she hates anybody that she's mentioned that does this so-called trafficking of women. I think she's jealous that she wasn't the one that was getting the benefits from it. How is this proven out? She can't keep a relationship. She's always burning a bridge. And oddly enough, the bridges that she's burned always have to do with people actually stepping into the so-called help that she's offering. Anytime they step up and say, we want to do more, the bridge is burned. Make that one make sense. Hear me out. Okay, Jag comes to somebody and says, I have this story of people being hurt women. Cool. Take it. Start running with it, getting traction. Everybody wants to find out how they can help. No more sooner than that happens, you hear about Jaguar Wright burning that bridge. You don't find that kind of weird? That all the bridges that are getting burned were people that kept saying to her, we want to do more to see if we can end this. And then she takes off running, goes completely against the people that she's trying to say help her in her endeavor. Look, it's not coincidence. It's not coincidence. You can get the people riled up only so much. And if they don't buy into your agenda, which is what? Just talk about it, nothing more, and allow you to continue doing what you're doing, but keep talking about it. You need to, what she's using people for is the distraction. She can have the stories, wants to put it out there, but she also needs time to do what she's doing. So to do what she's doing, she has to have the opportunity. To have that opportunity, she can't have people looking into it. People want to look into it. The instant people look into it, I'm going to burn that bridge. I'm done. I can't have you as a friend no more. Now all of a sudden you're against me. You're on the bot farm. You are part of the agenda trying to take me down. Woman, we were here trying to help you. What are you talking about? We wanted to do more. All of a sudden now we're public enemy number one. So the defaming starts to happen to the people that she says she has been allies with, trying to save all these women and kids. The same MO, exact same MO of anybody trying to talk out against the Catholic Church about their trafficking ways. You guys are just angry that we are the ones doing more. Or they'll tell you this is not the truth. Look how many orphanages we have. They'll never give you a number of what they've actually done. Catholic Family Services, familiar with that one? Please tell me how many children they've sent to homes where they've been absolutely demolished and abused and hurt by the family they've sent, only to have the kid return. That number outweighs all of their positive adoptions, almost twofold. I want you to make that make sense. And it'll make sense when you look at it in this particular light. The goal isn't to help. The goal is trafficking under the guise of helping. No different than Jaguar Wright. No different. Everybody that steps up and says, perfect, even burn the bridge with Mr. Atwood himself. He says he's going to help more. No, that's too much. You're getting too much into the weeds here, and eventually it'll lead back to me. We can't have that. Burn that bridge. Boom, done. Now I'm pissed off at you too. Maggie tried to help. No, no, no. Burn that bridge too. Too strong. We need to get up. Burn that bridge too. Why? Because in the efforts of the people, whether they're in your eyes good, bad, and you could disagree with us, disagree with Maggie, disagree with Atwood. The point is they were trying to help do more for the so-called victims. Every time that happened, and you can go back and watch her track record if we're wrong. Go check for yourself. Every time the person stepped forward and said, we want to get to the bottom of something, find the root cause, see if we can find individuals to actually rescue them, that particular entity is no longer friendly to Jaguar, because in her mind, now you're trying to hurt me. You've been using me. I can't afford it. In fact, you're trying to bring the feds down on me. And she just loses her mind. But is she really crazy? No. See, that is also part of the ruse. I do believe there's something mentally off about the lady. I will admit that. But is she completely crazy? No. No, no, no. We're messing with her bread and butter. You're messing with the bread and butter. You can't afford to be digging that deep into the stuff. Just trust me, bro. Trust me. I swam to Epstein Island and saved it. Just trust me that I've saved quite a few. Trust me on that. Should we invest? No, no, you don't need to look. There was it the Wizard of Oz? I'm pretty sure it was a Wizard of Oz. And he was behind their curtain, and it was a lie, a ruse all along. That's Jaguar Wright. The same thing with Tory Outlaw. Same exact thing. They have a curtain that they want you to believe is this, man, wow, they're amazing. Woo, wow, woo. And the instant you say, let's look a little deeper. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, stop now. Tori will go into a mental breakdown and she starts rocking. She's crying. Now look at me. You gotta take your time and take care of me first. Okay? Look what I'm going through. Don't look over there. Look at me. Oh my gosh. And then Jag will run in the street and start screaming, ripping her clothes off and throwing ashes around. That's what will happen because you're looking too much into the actual details. This is what happens. So they're not interested in the saving of children, which brings us to the final person where many people are going to get mad. But I want you to analyze something for me and tell me what they've actually done. Mr. Flynn, General Flynn, for all that he has said that he has access to data and he has private information and he can get access to classified documentation and all this stuff, you want me to believe that this individual can be that thorough with all of his investigations and still feel fine giving an award to a lying sack of crap like Jaguar Wright? That's what you want me to believe. You want me to believe that General Flynn is such a good guy and does all his homework, but misses the entire history of Jaguar Wright to enough so to give her an award for honesty? Look, if it walked like a duck and quack like a duck, you know what it might be? A duck, but they want you to think it's an elephant. No, it's a duck. It's a duck. Look, and the people who ask all this time about this conspiracy theory about people might be on the inside that are infiltrating the Trump administration and trying to stop what he's actually wanting to do with the children and all that. I genuinely believe that there are people, and I do believe that Mr. Flynn is one of them. I do 100% believe that Michael Flynn is one of those infiltrators who is using the environment that he's in to do even worse harm, not just to children and to women being trafficked, but the American government. Y'all might think that might be too far-fetched, but let me ask you a more detailed question. Give me something he has ever done on his own to help. I'll wait. And I don't mean sending out a telegram once in a while. In fact, I have his telegram right here. And I'm going to go look through his telegram and I will tell you what kinds of stuff that he has been pushing out. Okay? Let's just take a gander at a few of the things. So that's it. General Flynn. So he sends out stuff about his Lutheran faith, an entire diagram about his defending his faith. He has a Q&A. He puts out a bunch of stuff about the flag. He talks about tradition and Conor McGregor. Conspiracy theories, a bunch of those. But he puts out a bunch of stuff by Tucker Carlson. That's amazing too. But please tell me what he's actually done. You can't tell me that General Flynn doesn't have reach. You can't tell me he doesn't have power. And you can't tell me he doesn't have inside scoops. You can't tell me that he doesn't have people with the ability to rescue folks. He was a general, right? Okay, cool. So again, tell me what he's done. Nada. Not a thing. Never will. He never has. The reason why you won't find anything in his repertoire that he's done is because his goal isn't to do anything. He's another one running interference. You see, it's all distractionary. If I were to tell you that I am on the side of truth and justice, and then I tell you I have all these inside scoops to things, and then I tell you to come join my Telegram group, and then I tell you to join my YouTube channel, and I tell you I'm going to go on this podcast and that podcast and the other podcast. Now, mind you, I'm the kind of person that lived my life in the hemisphere of actually being able to go out and get stuff done. This was my whole history, general. I have people who can do covert operations, and the government will never know. Clandestine stuff. Never. Okay, cool. But all I spend my time doing is supposedly bringing awareness. Awareness. That's all I'm doing is bringing awareness. Okay? What exactly outside of awareness that he's doing did he do to actually help? I'll give you an example of how much he has not helped. And this one is a personal example. Ready for this personal example? Here we go. Y'all know the story of Othello Johnson, right? Okay, cool. We've submitted this information to multiple people. Multiple. We've sent it to Tucker Carlson, no response. We've sent it to RFK, no response. In fact, we've spoken directly with General Flynn, and he says, no, can't do anything with that. Now, mind you, Othello came with everything prepackaged, ready to go. All he needed was somebody on the inside that had the ear of the president, which Michael Flynn says he does, to get traction, to get rid of a certain entity of people, elites, that trafficked this man's child. Receipts, court documentation, paperwork, audio recordings, video recordings. This man has everything. General Flynn is telling you, I am here to help everybody. I'm just the best at doing this, and I know exactly how the beast operates. Somebody comes to you, tells you I have information about all these people, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, and you do nothing, but you're here to help? You don't do anything. You don't put your name out there to say, I have that. You don't bring him on your so-called podcast. You don't telegram about him. Nothing. This is exactly what we mean by all these people that people pay attention to because they know how to package a story. They know exactly what people are itching for, and they're itching for the secretive. They're itching for the shadowy. They're not itching for results. We keep saying we want the names, we want this, we want that. When people actually come forward with names that could bring an end to this stuff, the ones that are at the top don't want to hear. They do not care. Because the infiltration that is in there right now, the kinds of people that are in there right now, are actually the ones doing the trafficking. They're doing it. And the ones that actually want to help can't get the traction they're wanting because the same people that they're banking on to help them aren't helping. They talk a good game. I mean, a really good game. Very good game. Talk, and it's cheap. Not very many are going to put money where their mouth is. Put rubber to the road. Pedal to the metal. They don't want to do that. Because in some way, shape, form, or fashion, they're grifting off of it. Either they're trafficking, or they're making money off the idea of trafficking, or they're making money off of the idea of telling you that they're there to help trafficking stop. But the longer they have this information and sit on it, trafficking continues, right? So they still have a story to report on. And as long as they have that story to report on and they make money, why stop the story? Why? There's no point to. There is no incentive to get rid of children being trafficked. There's no incentive to stop women from being trafficked. There's no incentive for it because it's not lucrative to have it stop. It's no different than trying to find a cure for cancer. Why cure cancer when you can get money off of the symptoms treatment? Why? It is why we'll never get to the bottom, because we've allowed people that say they know stuff to take the forefront and just run. And we pay attention to them and pay money to them, and they stay in the front. If we would just ignore their ignorant, stupid behavior, we wouldn't have this problem. If we were to stop paying attention to them, leave them to flounder, and actually as a network of actual people, just regular people, we could get more done. We could get a whole lot more done. But we become dependent on the very people that keep the industry moving, banking on them saying they want to do stuff, but they actually are not going to do stuff. They had never had intentions to do stuff. I do 100% believe that Michael Flynn is one of those people. He hides behind his faith. He talks about it a lot, talks a big game, but when we bring certain informational pieces to him that can actually start the engine up and get the car running, he refused. The only reason I can possibly think of for somebody to refuse a golden calf, if you want to call it that, a golden opportunity, the golden egg, if you want to call it whatever it is, he put aside the biggest story that can actually bring names down. For what purpose? He never said. But he's here to help. He's here to help. He's here to make sure everybody is aware of what's going on. The deep state this and the deep state that and the deep state the other. Everything's a deep state, deep state. Point the finger at something else. Okay, cool. Let's say the deep state is the reasoning. Here's a guy. He knows somebody involved, and they're part of the deep state. I have records, transcripts of this deep state operative working to harm the American people. I have all the documentations, Mr. Flynn. Will you work with me on this? Nah, we can't work with that. But you said you're here to help. We can't work with it. Sorry, not right now. Because they're too busy dumping the informational downloads of all the stuff he's putting on. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at it. You're talking about thousands of pieces of documentation that he's put out there. Talking about arrests must be made for the most egregious crime in global proportions committed on the U.S. citizens. Did he do anything to do anything about that? No, not at all. In warfare, for every action, there is a reaction followed by a counteraction. But you ain't doing nothing to do with this particular piece of warfare. Talk. Chinese this, assassination that. I'm going through his timeline. Not a single thing of how to, what to, just that. You just need to understand that it's going on. Okay, cool, it's going on. Trafficking is going on. That's what Jag tells you. That's what Ali tells you. That's what Michael Flynn tells you. And it's going on everywhere. Cool. All right, cool. Music industry. All right. Rap industry. Cool. Entertainment industry. All right. Government. Okay, good. Then you get to the main question for all three. What can we do? And what all of them keeps telling you? Bring awareness. Just be aware of it. You know, just make sure you know that it's going on. That's it. Yeah, just make sure it's going on. So, Mr. Flynn, can you do anything about it? I have contacts, but I mean, I'm not in government. That's the excuse you're going to get. Jaguar said, well, I mean, I got contacts, but you know, it's a very delicate thing. You can't just go in and do stuff. Ali will tell you, well, you can't trust anybody really, so you just need to be aware. Everybody keeps telling you, just be aware of it. Just be. And every time their awareness comes up, it's always something more egregious of a story. If you realize with Tori, right, with Tori Outlaw, she went from it's about her being put in a container, and then that traction kind of got a little old. People were like, okay, so you got caught in. Then she had to bump it up. Don't get this one. I was almost trafficked to Russia, man. Oh, wow, you should. And then I was on the street for weeks on my own, eating out of garbage cans. Oh my gosh, poor Ali, poor. Then that one starts to fizzle out a little bit. Then she had to come. And then I went to a family, and this family, they were the ones that had ended the life of their child. Yeah, in a sexual escapade thing. Yeah, a ritual. That's what it was. Yeah, yeah. All these blood stuff. That's what it was. And I married the whole family. Awareness. But the story is so compelling, man. Wow, wow, wow. Listen to her. She's been through a lot. Let's keep praying for Allie. I pray for Allie. Bring Allie safe. Okay, Allie safe. Now, what about the people she's talked about? The hundreds of kids in containers. What about them? What about the children she's now dealing with by teaching them to dance and get involved in the same crap? Then you got Jag. She uses cadence to get her point across. It's the way it is. Y'all just don't understand. I've been in this. Jay-Z knew. Everybody knew. It ain't old. This is stuff I've been dealing with. Y'all don't know me. If you did, you'd understand. See, Mystery Science Theater stuff. They give you this, oh my, wonder. Not a single thing has actually been done. Because there's no point in getting it done. Because if it gets done, I don't have a grift anymore. Then we got Flynn. Oh my goodness, the deep state over here and the deep state over there. Oh my gosh, all these government entities are acting up. What do we do? Vote. What else? Vote. But you have names and documentation, yes. So it should be more than vote. Has he started any petitions for any kind of, arrests, even though he says there should be arrests? No. He says he has all the information that could possibly just get everybody thrown in jail. Has he done it? No. Because he doesn't have that. And even if he did have it, he's not doing anything with it, because how would you like it if I told you, man, I am the guy that has everything for you. I do. All right, cool. I mean, I need shoes. I got shoes too. Clothes, I got that. Man, well, when I need those things, I'll hit you a bit. A few months go by and I end up needing some shoes and some clothes. And I come to you, the guy that says he has it all. And I said, hey, man, I need some shoes and I need some clothes. He's like, okay, hold on. Listen, there are people that need clothes and shoes, and we need to clothe them and put shoes on their feet. And I say, yeah, I'm one of those people. Good. So what we need to do is bring awareness to the people that need shoes and clothes and see what we can get accomplished to see how many people need shoes and clothes. I'm like, I need shoes. Hello, shoes and clothes, me. Yeah, I hear you. So what we need to do is organize a movement to see how many others as well need shoes and clothes. Because you know what? Hear me out. It'd be more efficient for us to find more people so we get for everybody at the same time. So me, like an idiot, just sits back and say, okay, I'll wait. And then I realized that nobody's getting any shoes and clothes, especially me. I said, so, hey, man, you got anything for me? No. What do you mean? Well, we're still waiting on this. This is how they do, and they keep going on. Eventually, I have to go get my own shoes and clothes because I know now I can't trust that person to do what they say they're going to do. They've been talking for decades about these shoes and clothes, and I can't get none. That's these people. Their number one grift is the information they hand out. To keep that grift, it has to remain information. It cannot become tangible. It cannot become something that you can fix. It cannot dare become that. The instant it becomes that, the grift is over and their relevancy goes away. Because they built their entire relevancy on how they portray the story, how they say it, what they say, the intrigue. They're novel writers. That's what they are. They are the best novel writers out there. The same way that the Vatican has this mystique about them. We're a walled off city. This is where the presence of God lies. We have pomp and circumstance. Meanwhile, everything they do funnels the very thing that they say they're against. This has become the MO of all these people that say they're here to bring awareness. Meanwhile, not to toot our own horns, but we will because we know what we're doing. We will set up things to actually get things in motion. We will take information from somebody to actually get to the bottom, and we'll ask questions that nobody else is asking to find out whether it is relevant, or two, how many people were involved and what are the names. We are constantly asking for the names of things. We don't want you coming with this information. Well, I know somebody. Who? Well, it's somebody. We need a name. Where are they at? What have they done? Where they live? What's their criminal record? Is there something we can get so that they can get arrested? Give us something. People always run from that. Why? Because the informational warfare that they have has been way more important than the outcome of what they're hoping for. They don't want the outcome to come to fruition. They do not want trafficking to end. They do not want the children to be found. They don't want women to be done with the harvesting of their. They don't want none of that done. They want it all staying. Because the longer it stays, the more money they make, the more valuable they seem to be, and everybody turns their attention to them, and they have become important. Ultimate power corrupts ultimately. Their goal has never been about helping people, regular day-to-day people, find peace and solace. For all of the children every year being trafficked by CPS, you never hear of CPS being shut down. For all of the trafficking, and then we know happens in certain organizations, you never hear them being shut down either. All the countries that we know have child labor never get raided, and they don't ever be held to account. Why is that? Because somebody else that's talking about it has been profiting from it. These three are just the tip of the iceberg. They're the loud wheels. They really are, and they cover every gamut. Those three are part of the, I would say, the perfect triangle. Okay, Flynn on the political, Tory on the entertainment, and Jag on the music. It's great. It's a great triangle. They cover all the bases. And of course, Tory also brings in her little spirituality, and so does, Jaguar Wright, and so does Flynn. So it's a nice little on a diagram. I want to make sure I draw this out for you because you know me, I like to have examples for people to see. I want you to understand what I mean by it's a perfect little diagram. And if you look at it, you might see something a little bit, I don't know what the word might be, occultish. It might be something that you might attribute to an occult. It might not be. But this is what I see whenever I hear them talk. Okay, I'm going to draw myself my triangle. Okay? And this is what I see. Okay, this is what I see right here. They have a nice little triangle, and each one drops a certain level of another one to cross to the next one. So some might have, that's the way the Jaguar coordinated with Michael Flynn politically, but she's still on her line. And the same way that Tory coordinates with Jaguar Wright, they all link. They all link and they cover all the bases. So you can't say that they're not helping, but you never see the proof of it because all their stories seem to align. And the more their stories align, the less likely we are to ask any more questions past that. Just give them time. They're just working on it. They're working in chess mode. You just don't understand. This thing takes time. Blah, 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 blah. People have been talking about these missing children for years. What guarantees you have those children are still alive? And in the meantime, how many of them have been trafficked so much that they wish they were dead? But no, we spend time sitting in front of a screen watching these buffoons talk, listening to them talk about what they've seen and what they've experienced and what they know. And they never do anything to stop it. Talk a big game. They are the conspiracy. They are the very conspiracy that they talk about bringing down. And it will never come down because they're the ones at the helm of it. And every day a new sucker is born that will listen to them and listen to the nonsensical stories. And they know this. They know people are more interested in feeling sad and feeling happy than actually seeing the results of someone else being rescued from something. And that is where their grift stays. And that's where they want it to remain. The question here is this: what power do we have to stop it? All the power. All we have to do is stop listening to them. Stop giving them the time of day. Shut down all interaction with them. And watch how quickly things start to change. The grift starts to go away. You know what they'll have to do now? We got to produce some sort of result. If we want to get any of this traction back, we have to produce a result. One of two things will happen. They change their tune and start to give up the people that they have in their power, or they leave room for people to actually act. Either way, the victims will win, because that's less time wasted on inadequate people and more time of regular people trying to get a solution. Here's my question to you. Which one are you? Are you one that's going to pay attention to the people hiding and masking all the information? Or are you going to be one of those people that says, shut off the noise and give me results? The only one that can make that decision is you. But understand this: the longer you wait to make that decision, the more victims that you say you care about are being victimized. And they're all doing it under the noses of these three people.